been in the retail health food business for the last 30 years plus, but I've also been in numerous other businesses. I was raised on a family farm in West Tennessee, so of course farming is a business. So like I said, I feel like I've been in business my whole life. I do plan to write a business book. I'm shooting for 2020, and I'm going to title it Never Easy, Only Better. But I think a good way to think about business and moving forward in life is to first realize that it's not going to be easy. You know, I think when I first started in business, which is many, many years ago, I really thought that it was, you know, supposed to either be easy or that it was supposed to get easy. And I think that really hampered a lot of my growth in the early stages. So I want you to get in your mind that the road to growth in business is never going to be easy. But the other part is only better. And I think the thing to focus on in your business is just getting better. So I'm going to talk about 3 or 4 different things that will help you to get your business better. I'm probably going to use a few examples from either the farming world or the sports world. I also mentioned that I'm signed up to run the full marathon in Nashville, April 27th. I run a couple of halves, but I've never run a whole, so wish me luck. So I did a little brief informal survey before we started, and I asked individuals, you know, kind of how long they've been in business and what % growth they would like over the next 12 months. And so this is going to be about 2 things. It's going to be about goals, and I'm going to also add in know your numbers. You know, the first thing about when it comes to say goals that I like to talk about is to get clear about what your goals are and to get sure about what your goals are. You know, if you're not sure and clear about the goals that you have, you're going to have trouble making progress in that direction. And if you don't know your numbers, then you may not even know if you're going in the right direction or not. You may not even know if you've achieved your say goals or not. And the thing about business is that all things work together. I mean, there's no one thing that determines success or failure in business. It's the combo of a lot of factors. And say most you know, beginning business people, they don't really consider well all the different factors that go into a successful business. So, okay, so a common answer that I got 2 basic answers. One was a 200% increase, and the other 2 were 100% increases. So, to start out, when it comes to say goals and knowing your numbers, you know, if you're fairly new in business, you know, like less than a year, a double or 100% increase in your business as a goal. I mean that is a starting point that's going to put you on the road to failure. I can guarantee that. I mean, anything less than a 10x increase. I mean, if you think about the amount of money that you make now as a 1-year business person, are you telling me that your goal is to make double that? I mean, I didn't ask, but I don't think that's the answer. So the first thing is to say know your numbers. You know, say look at your goal, consider your say mindset, and I would be almost sure that as an early stage business person, you know, at least 10x to maybe even 20 is probably a lot more adequate goal. But, you know, after you set a goal, you do have to consider, you know, whether you believe you can do that. So here we get into mindset. You know, if you're going to set a 10x goal or say 20x goal, you're going to have to consider, you know, do I believe I can do this? So, one of the problems of setting a say 100% goal in the early stages is that, it just sounds like a good, relatively easy figure, which is also bad news. Easy, like I said, get that out of your vocabulary. And it's probably not big. It's probably not a big enough goal to say properly or say motivate you. So when it comes to knowing your say numbers, I would encourage each of you to at least, usually weekly is probably the say best. Come up with say some parameter. Whether it's income. Of course, it depends on what your business is. It could be calls made. It could be presentations. But you got to come up with new people met, network events attended. But you need at least one or two that you grab every week. How many of these did I go to? 2, 5, 7. Because you need to understand your numbers, and if it's an important number, you've got to make sure that you find something to do over time that's making these numbers go up. And so that's what we're going to cover there. The next thing that I want to talk about that I know will make your business much better, and I titled this Become a Learning Machine. If you want to make a 2x or 10x or 20x increase in your business, you're going to need to know things that you probably don't currently know. There are some exceptions there, but you probably are going to need to say know things that you don't currently know. The best way to bridge this gap, the number one best way is through mentors and coaches. That's the absolute fastest way to do it. If you can find the proper business coach, I know Laurie's one, or if you can find a proper mentor in your field, you can learn in an hour what it would take you literally years to learn. So you have to consider that if you're serious about your business goals. The other way is through reading. They say that the average corporate CEO reads somewhere between 50 and 60 books a year. That is 4 to 5 books a month. As far as I'm concerned, if you're not getting in at least 1 or 2 a month, you're not really serious about your business growth. Because we live in a very changing world, and things that may have worked last year or the year before, they may not be things that say work the best now. So you really have to stay on top of the industry. You have to stay on top of all the business basics, sales, marketing, taxes, team building, all those things. So another thing that I want to talk about briefly is, I'm going to kind of lump these together too. We're going to talk about self-discipline, mental toughness, and training. If you want to grow your business even 100% or 10-fold or 20-fold, there's probably going to be a lot of things that you're going to need to do that you probably don't want to do. Mm-hmm. I'm signed up to run this full marathon. I need to be running almost every single day. I'm not going to always feel like running every single day, but that's really not that relevant. If I'm going to do it, I don't really have any other choice. So you have to really look at your self-discipline. You're going to have to learn to do things that you don't always want to do. And that's kind of where the mental toughness comes in at also, in order to get yourself to mentally move forward and do the things that you know that will move your business forward, although you would rather be, sitting, watching TV, eating ice cream, those kind of things. Another thing I'm going to hit on briefly is your network. having a larger network makes business easier. You know, if you take the size of your network now, the number of people that you know, the number of people that say know you, if that number was 10 times what it currently is, wouldn't that make your business easier? It would. So I'd encourage all of you to get, you know, more out of your comfort zone, you know, and you know, maybe almost set as a goal for 3 times, 10 times more people in your community, in your city, to know you than say currently knows you, and that will improve your business. I'm going to talk about focus for just, I'll say, a few minutes. You know, if you've got you know, large goals, you know, you're clear and you're sure about them. You know, you've got to say proper mindset. That you're going to have to, you know, put in the like I said, the self-discipline and the mental toughness. I miss training. You know, if you think about people that are really good in say anything, you know, they say world-class people in, whether it's in your business or in any business, in sports, whatever, there's a lot of training that goes into it. I mean, these people, they did not get that way by accident. I mean, you know, whether it's guitar players, singers. So I would encourage you to consider, you know, some type of practically daily training, you know, that, you know, it could be sales, influence, you know, there's various things, you know, in say any industry that if you got better at, you know, it would increase your say business. Here I would take a say sports analogy, you know, just to say make it clear. You know, there is no way we'll take basketball. If you want to be better at say basketball, and if you get better at dribbling, passing, shooting, rebounding, if you get better at those, you're going to be a better basketball player. I mean, there's no ifs and buts about it. So, you know, if you spend, you know, 30 minutes working on each of those every day in the training process, in 2 weeks, 1 month, 3 months, you're going to be a much improved player. So you can apply similar things to your business. There's like always certain major categories in any business that are responsible for like moving the say numbers forward. And if you get better at each of those, if you'll train and focus on those, you will get better. Of course, all of this takes a lot of time, and that's where focus comes in at. You know, if you're going to build anything close to a world-class business, you know, you can forget about 2 hours a night watching TV. You know, back to your say network. I mean, you're going to have to say focus on the individuals that say have the proper attitudes and mindsets that are going to be conducive to moving your business forward. I mean, you're probably going to have a lot of friends and families and individuals that are currently part of your network now that you need to cut out of your network, or at least you know, say limit your exposure to them greatly. And all of these are just the realities of the say business world if you want to build something that is, you know, worthwhile. What's my time? Up. Okay, at this time I'm going to entertain any question or two that anybody has that where you feel like I may can answer something that might help your business.
What do you think would be realistic goals for business to set as far as their growth pattern from here?
Okay. The answer to that is that, okay, you know, like if you're in the say early stages, then yeah, it's probably 10x, 20x, because you know you're just getting things started. Everything is say small, and so usually, you know, if you look at the say number that it would really take to fulfill the things that you want to fulfill, you can kind of figure it from say there. But the things that you have to consider, the greater this goal is, the more mindset change, the more self-discipline. So it's really just a matter of, I mean, to put it very bluntly, it's just a matter of how much pain you're willing to say take in. Like, you know, if you want to train and get in marathon shape in 4 months, I mean, it can probably be done, but it's gonna take a lot of pain. I mean, it's gonna be brutal where, you know, if you want to do it over a year's time or 2-year time, then it's not quite as brutal, you know. So
You think it'd be better to have a series of monthly goals that you work towards versus an annual goal?
yes, I think monthly is, especially in the early stages. You know, I think you need some type of parameters weekly. You know, as a relatively, you know, any business usually within the first couple of years, you need something weekly. You know, it may not be an income goal, but you need something that you can track to make sure you're heading in the right direction weekly. I mean, you can't go a whole week and not be on track.
So not necessarily performance goals, but
Not necessarily, but some parameter to where you know you're doing the things that's going to lead in that direction.
like the training and like, you know, networking and things like that.
Yes, or calls made or people met, you know, something that you know that's going to move you forward. Anything else?
I think you're so right on the mental toughness, especially being in the mental game can be.
Hit the reading hard, because
Yeah.
you know, when you read about business people that have succeeded, you know, you will see that in there. So you will get, you know, tips, but you will also pick up, you know, where their mind was, what they were thinking about. So yeah, just immerse yourself there. All right, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.